ARK Editions is easily one of the wildest collections of creature mods ever made, and today I'm going through all 10 creatures from these mods that you can tame right now in ARK Survival Ascended. These aren't basic dinos. Every single one of them has completely unique mechanics, new taming systems, and abilities that make vanilla creatures feel outdated. From aquatic assassins, literal living tanks, and things that should not legally exist. This is going to blow your mind. So let's get right into it. First up we have the Dino Suches, a colossal, crocodile-like apex predator that was officially added to ARK and now naturally spawns on every single map. This thing is a monster, easily one of the most powerful semi-aquatic creatures in the game. It used to be a major boss-killing meta dino thanks to a broken bite glitch, but that has recently been patched. Its signature move is the Mega Bite. You can charge it up, the jaw slowly opens wider and wider, and then it snaps forward with a massive burst of damage. Then you have the standard left click bite, which is your basic attack. But here's the cool part. If you slightly turn your camera while using it, the dino will whip around instantly, giving you 0 blind spots. And finally, pressing C unleashes a powerful tail whip, another strong crowd control option. But make no mistake, the Mega Bite is the real star of its kit. Another great ability that the dino has is the ability to roar. Simply press control, however this really doesn't do anything. Now taming is straightforward. It's a standard KO tame that can be found in the swamp on most maps. Just walk up with full ghillie and put superior kibble in its mouth when it's wide open. However, do not try knocking it out in the water. When submerged, it gets a damage reduction buff and moves insanely fast. The best method is to just lure it onto land and then feed it. To craft the Dino Suches saddle, you'll need to hit level 74, and you'll need 200 fiber, 50 ingots, and 380 hide. The saddle must also be crafted in a smithy. Overall, the Dino Suches is one of the best creature additions to ARK Survival Ascended in my opinion. Incredibly fun to use, extremely strong, and absolutely worth adding to your collection. And not to mention, it is officially in the game. And speaking of creatures with insane abilities, there's something else in the real world that boosts your performance just as hard, and that is Mitra 9. Mitra 9 is a non-alcoholic supplement that quite literally makes you feel good. These drinks give you a high but without the impairment. They have a ton of great flavors, my favorite being root beer. If you're looking for a new drink to replace your coffee in the morning, Mitra is the way to go. Simply go to mitra9.com and use my code Outcasts for 25% off your entire order. Now, back to the video. But while the Dino Suches dominates swamps and rivers as an aquatic ambush predator, ARK Editions also gives us one of the largest land titans ever added, the Brachiosaurus. This is the biggest creature on this list, towering over almost every dino in ARK aside from the actual titans. The Brachio is extremely slow, so it's not something that you want to travel long distances with, but its power makes up for its speed instantly. It has 2 modes which can be toggled by hitting spacebar. Harvest mode allows you to gather everything from bushes to rocks and trees, and battle mode shifts it into pure combat focus. The Bellow ability is activated with control and will weaken everything around it by reducing enemy damage output and resistance, making it easier to wipe whatever's in your way. Pressing C makes the Brachio stand up on its 2 legs, putting it into a high stance. In this stance, you will gain access to its rear kick with a right click, and the Earthshaker Stomp, which is the strongest attack and does insane damage to anything that's nearby. The Brachio saddle unlocks at level 70 and costs 235 fiber, 500 hide, and 75 ingots. To tame the Brachio, you will need to first aggro it and make sure that you're on a fast mount because it will chase you faster than you'd expect. Then you must shoot directly under its knees with regular bullets, not tranks, because the creature converts bullet damage into torpor. The stronger the gun, the faster that it knocks out. Once it's down, feed it extraordinary kibble, and the tame is straightforward. These giants can spawn randomly, but you'll most commonly find them in massive open plains or just wide grassland areas. It's not the most practical mount, but if you want raw presence and pure chaos power, the Brachio is one of the most satisfying tames in the entire game. And while the Brachiosaurus dominates the battlefield through raw size and overwhelming force, ARK Editions also introduces something far more aggressive and predatory, the Ceratosaurus. The Cera is an official dino that can be found on any map, and it's definitely an interesting creature to say the least. Left click is a basic hit attack, nothing too crazy there. Right click is where things get weird. If you're walking, he'll headbutt the target and inflict a brutal bleed effect that does a ton of damage per second, but other times instead of headbutting, he'll randomly do a full 360 spin attack. So yeah, it's a bit unpredictable. Control is a roar and it activates its unique rage run ability, letting him charge forward like a woolly rhino, but with a plot twist. While in this rage state, he harvests absolutely everything in his path, from trees to rocks to metal. He also passively heals himself while attacking, and even heals allied dinos that are nearby, making him way tankier than expected. You'll typically find the Ceratosaurus roaming deep in the jungle regions, and if you spot one early game, just run. This thing can absolutely delete you. Now, taming this creature is pretty complicated. You will need to kill a wild Cera first and acquire Cerato venom spines. You're gonna need a good bit of these. After you get those, make narcotics and get a good amount of blood packs. You will then need to make a hemoglobin cocktail. I recommend making a good amount of these, but it will vary depending on your rates and level. Now go find a Cera and make sure to bring a very soaky dino like a Trike or Stego. Get the aggro of the Cera and put the cocktails into your inventory. Then go ahead and consume it into your dino, which will let off a red effect. This effect gets the Cera drunk. Yes, I know it just sounds kinda crazy. Once the Cera is 100% drunk, you can then get off your dino and feed it extraordinary kibble and tame him. Do not hit him as it will reset the entire taming process. It's definitely one of the weirdest ways to tame a dino. The Ceratosaurus saddle unlocks at level 60 and costs 270 fiber, 20 ingots, and 130 hide. Overall, it's a wild dino with some wild abilities and an even wilder way to tame it. For the first time ever, you can get a dino drunk to tame it, so just imagine it's your alcoholic addicted roommate. And while the Ceratosaurus brings unpredictable aggression and chaos to the jungles, ARK Editions also delivers a completely different kind of monster, a colossal war elephant known as the Dinotherium. This guy has a basic stomp ability as left click, and right click is a trunk slap which hits decently hard. Control is the roar, and C is another version of a roar. Except this one gives a 5% damage reduction to you and any dinos near you. The craziest thing is that this can actually be stacked depending on how many females that you have, since females give off this 5% buff of course. Having one male is crucial for fighting though, because if there are more than one male, they won't attack. The Dinotherium is good at harvesting berries, but that's about it. They're decent soakers and they soak a lot better when in herds together with others. They can be found randomly in the grasslands. To tame them, you will need beer, and make sure that you aren't in a pack, otherwise they will attack you. You'll know it's working when they start making a weird noise and they seem interested in you. If his ears are tucked behind or his nose is to the side, approaching them will just get you killed. You need to wait until it moves its trunk side to side, flaps its ears, or gives you a heavy head shake. It's confusing, so make sure to rewatch this part as it's crucial for taming. Now instead of passive taming by walking up and clicking something, they'll just take the beer out of your inventory. Now you'll need to do it again and wait for the correct animation before walking up, otherwise you'll need to restart the taming process over again. The Dinotherium saddle can be unlocked at level 85 and will cost 150 cementing paste, 150 hide, 350 wood, 570 fiber, and 20 ingots. Overall, it's a pretty cool dino to own, but a very complicated one for taming. A lot of these dinos on this list are not that easy to tame, but it definitely makes it fun to learn them all. And while the Dinotherium stands as a disciplined war elephant built around formation combat and defense buffs, ARK Editions also introduces a far more feral and rage-fueled apex predator. The Acrocanthosaurus. The Acro is wild and unlike anything else in this game. You can't really compare it to a Rex, Giga, or anything else because it just behaves completely different. The Acro can take a massive beating and dish out a ton of damage. Its left click is a basic bite attack, right click is a devastating stomp that hits with insane force, and C toggles a shield stance that lets it absorb incoming damage, but its craziest ability is its adrenaline system. This charges up as enemies damage it. Once the bar reaches 100%, you can activate it to double your movement speed, damage, and even make your stomp attack hit 3 times instead of just 1. Acros can typically be found in the redwoods or highlands. To tame one, you'll need to trap it similarly to how we would trap a Giga, but instead of knocking it out, you'll have to constantly damage it with weapons until it enters its shield stance. Once it crouches and enters that stance, keep shooting it until it lets out a roar, but be careful because when it gets down to around 10% health, it's on the edge of death. As soon as it gets that low, run up and feed it narcotics directly into its mouth. You'll see a tame bar go up. Now repeat that process, but be aware that it has a vicious roar that can outright kill you and anything nearby, so you need to be careful. Once it finally goes down, feed it extraordinary kibble to finish the tame. The Acro saddle unlocks at level 76 and costs 200 fiber, 50 ingots, and 380 hide. Overall, it's one of the most unique dinos on this entire list. They all have their charm, but the Acro truly feels like a completely different kind of apex predator when compared to things like the Giga or Karch. And while the Acro is a grounded apex predator built on pure rage and retaliation, ARK Editions also dives beneath the surface to introduce one of the most alien-looking predators in the entire franchise, the Anomalocaris. The Anemona is a horrifying underwater creature with some extreme unique ability. And just to be clear, this is also a paid dino, it will cost you $5. Its basic left click is a Venom Strike, which applies a poison effect. Right click performs a leech attack, and if you hold right click it becomes a full parasitic grab, flipping you upside down and allowing you to hit repeatedly. You also have a camo mode, going fully invisible, but moving very slow. While camouflaged, if you hold left click you can leap onto a target with a powerful ambush strike. Just like a Therizino, it even has its own upgrade menu where you can invest points into specific ability categories to enhance them beyond normal level scaling. They spawn both in the deep sea and occasionally in shallow waters, making them very hard to predict. Now taming one is absolutely insane. First of all, finding one is tricky because around 50% of the time they disguise themselves as an ichthy. But if you spyglass it and it shows wild, I'm not sure what this is, ? That's not an ichthy, it's an Anomalocaris. Once you confirm it, kill one and obtain the Anomala pheromone ball from its corpse. Consume the pheromone near another one, and make sure that you are wearing at least 4 pieces of chitin armor. This is required to disguise yourself so it doesn't instantly attack you. If done correctly, it will allow you to ride it and then you'll notice a purple preference bar at the bottom of your screen. This bar cycles based on what ability it wants you to perform. If it performs the Venom ability, you must use Venom Strike, which is left click to kill creatures. If it wants you to ambush, you'll need to enter camo and hold left click to strike. When it favors parasitic feeding, you must use the upside down latch attack, which is holding right click. It will rotate between these 3 requests as you ride it, and as long as you perform the correct action, taming progress rises. But if you use the wrong attack type, your taming effectiveness will drop, so you must pay very close attention. The Anomalocaris saddle can be unlocked at level 50 and costs 150 fiber, 250 hide, and 25 ingots. This is without question the most complex tame on this entire list, but also one of the most insane and rewarding creatures in ARK editions. Honestly, I highly recommend getting one, but absolutely study this taming method first before attempting it, because this dino does not forgive mistakes. And while the Anomalocaris specializes in stealth, poison, and surgical underwater assassinations, ARK Editions also gives us a creature that takes the complete opposite approach. A living tank of pure armor and brute endurance, the Edmontonia. The Edmon is basically an Anki that decided to bulk up in the gym and overdose on every steroid imaginable. Its first ability is a bite attack which harvests berries, wood, thatch, and even charcoal from any tree. Left click harvests flint, stone, spark powder, and metal just like any Anki. Except this thing literally mines spark powder straight out of rocks, which is pretty ridiculous. It also comes with built-in weight reduction, 75% on metal and 25% on your other basic resources. Now it gets crazier, the Edmon has toggle powder attacks. If you hit left control plus left click to activate, this consumes spark powder and lets you mark a dino with a bomb symbol when you hit it. Then you'll need to keep hitting it to charge the bomb, then tail whip to ignite it into an explosive for massive damage. There's also target powder clouds, which again uses spark powder but instead places flammable explosive clouds around you that can be detonated with the tail whip the same way. There's a cosmetic emote roar as well by pressing left control twice, but that one is just purely visual. It also has a bite harvest on C, similar to its other harvest attacks. But here's the insanity, the Edmontonia actually has 2 saddles, a regular one and a flamethrower saddle. When using the flamethrower saddle, hitting spacebar lets you manually control twin flame turrets while still riding the dino. Left and right click will unleash massive flame sprays as long as you have the flamethrower ammo in its inventory. The Edmontonia can be found all over the map. Redwoods, grasslands, and deserts are their main spawn zones. Taming is a bit chaotic, but really fun. You will need a torch and flame arrows or a flamethrower, plus you're going to need some sweet veggie cakes. Find an Edmontonia and wait for it to sneeze spark powder. It must be aggressive on you first, then ignite the spark powder with fire. Put the sweet veggie cakes on your last hotbar slot, then the Edmon will spawn waves of random dinos that will attack it. You must wait for the Edmon to hit them, and then you'll need to kill them but with fire only to build taming progress. I recommend waiting until the bomb icons build up on them before killing since it gives better taming effectiveness. After a few waves, the Edmon will get low health. This is where you must feed it sweet veggie cakes to keep it alive. Repeat this process until it tames. The saddle unlocks at level 60 and costs 150 fiber, 300 hide, 30 keratin, and 75 ingots. The flamethrower saddle unlocks at level 70 and costs 100 cementing paste, 30 electronics, 250 fiber, 350 hide, 30 keratin, 100 ingots, 150 polymer, and 20 sulfur. Overall, the Edmontonia is easily my favorite new harvester on this list. Amazing for farming and generally just really fun to use. And while the Edmontonia dominates the battlefield with Bruce defends on land, under the waves a very different kind of prehistoric monster rules, the Archelon. This giant marine turtle was officially added a while back and now naturally spawns on every map. A lot of players write this thing off as useless, but honestly it serves a very important role. The Archelon acts as a portable scuba platform, letting up to 5 players breathe underwater without tanks, making deep sea travel a lot easier. It's also immune to most dismount effects like jellyfish stuns, and comes with extremely high damage resistant, making it a natural turret soaker and escort mount. Another underrated perk, you can eat, heal, and manage inventory while riding it underwater, something that most mounts don't allow. Its only attack is a basic bite. It's not a DPS creature, but that's not its purpose. Here's the crazy ability most players don't know. The Archelon naturally grows algae on its shell over time, which you can harvest. This functions like underwater kibble or healing food for aquatic creatures. Super useful if you're running an ocean-based or taming deep-sea dinos. You'll find Archelons in shallow ocean zones near coral reefs, and taming is very easy. It's a passive tame, accepting biotoxin, superior kibble, or even extraordinary kibble. The saddle unlocks at level 45 and costs 600 fiber, 850 hide, 200 metal ingots, and 250 wood, so it's fairly pricey. Overall, it's not a meta creature, but if you live or explore underwater often, the Archelon is absolutely worth having and should not be overlooked. And while the Archelon serves as a mobile fortress and utility platform beneath the waves, ARK Editions also brings a far more aggressive ocean predator, the Xiphachnus. The Xi is an underwater dino that was added officially and can be found on all maps. It's basically a massive, oversized barracuda, and it's legitimately terrifying. The Zip has an ability to rapidly sprint lunge at an enemy, hitting extremely hard. Its left click is a regular bite attack, and right click performs the fast lunging jump. Spacebar makes it ascend, and C makes it dive, so maneuvering underwater is very smooth. But the terrifying part is that this creature can launch itself completely out of the water and move around on land. And yes, it can still attack you while doing that, so even the shoreline isn't safe from this thing. To tame one, you'll need to make a trap using a dino gate and bait it inside using one of your tames. Then simply knock it out with a crossbow, but be careful, its health drains fast, so do not overtrank it. They favor superior kibble and tame very quickly, making the process fairly easy once it's trapped. Once tamed, you'll need a saddle. The saddle unlocks at level 55 and costs 50 cementing paste, 155 fiber, 290 hide, and 15 ingots, and this can also be crafted in a smithy. Overall, it's a very easy tame. The hardest part is just getting it into the trap. And I highly recommend it if you're exploring underwater because this thing can demolish most ocean creatures with ease. And while Edmontonia dominates the battlefield with Bruce defense on land, under the waves a very different kind of prehistoric monster rules, the Helicoprion. This is actually the most recently added creature to ARK, and it's one of the most unique sharks we've ever gotten. Its left click is your standard bite, nothing too crazy there, but then it gets interesting. Its tail whip ability works similar to a Dino-Suchus, except instead of raw damage it deals torpor, letting you knock out underwater creatures with ease. Finally, a true underwater knockout mount, because taming ocean creatures has always been miserable. It can also launch itself completely out of the water by pressing C, which is just straight up cinematic, but just know that you have to be on the surface for this to work. Now, its final ability is easily the craziest. The heli can convert almost any dropped item into a blueprint. Just place the item in its inventory and hit convert to blueprint. It takes about a minute depending on the item quality, but there is a risk. If it fails, the item is permanently destroyed. It's risky, but absolutely insane that ARK finally added something like this into the game. You'll find them in the deeper ocean regions, not really near the surface, and taming one is completely unique. You must drop items or armor from supply drops, not items that you personally craft. Once the heli accepts the item, you have to jump onto its fin and ride it, following on-screen prompts to stay balanced and not get thrown off and killed. After that phase, you're going to need to feed it a ratfish treat, crafted in the industrial cooker, and repeat the process until fully tamed. It's surprisingly quick once you get the rhythm. Its saddle unlocks at level 91, crafted in a smithy for 250 fiber, 400 hide, and 75 metal ingots. The Helicoprion is easily one of my favorite underwater creatures in the game. It's not the easiest tame, but absolutely one of the most fun. And that covers every single ARK Editions creature currently released. 10 of the most insane, unique, and straight up fun dinos that you can experience in Survival Ascended. No two of these play the same. Every tame feels like a little mini boss encounter, and honestly, this is the closest ARK has ever felt to evolving its creature design past the vanilla experience. If you're still running official only dinos, you're playing ARK on easy mode. Anyways, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Don't forget to go check out Mitra9, and please hit that subscribe button as we are almost at 100,000. But anyways, thanks for watching.